was about 29 years old actually when I started training for the first time. I was never able to get into sports in high school or even junior high because our family had a movie theater, a business, and we had to work it. There was no time for fun. So it was actually after I got married that I went back to watching wrestling and showing up at some of the shows, something I had done more as a child, And once I got married, there was no more going out to dances or anything like that. What the heck, we gotta save our money. So I started going back to the wrestling matches. And I met this guy, Juan Hernandez. And he and I got together and started training at the YMCA almost twice a week. And we did that for a whole year without any professional help whatsoever. And eventually, by the time we were able to use the old San Bernardino Arena because we didn't have a ring at the YMCA, so we wound up getting an opportunity to train at the old San Bernardino Arena, and finally we were able to convince Goliath, the great Goliath, to come out and help us out, train us, and which he did. So me and Juan we trained for 2 years before we actually had our first match. Unlike some of these young guys nowadays, they train 3 months, 4 months, or 5 months, and they think they're ready. And it's not that easy. I don't know if my wife really liked it at the beginning, but evidently, she didn't stop me from doing it. My stepfather was a big wrestling fan, and he seemed like he was excited that I was doing something like this, and so was my mother.
And so, you started training. What was your first match? Who was it against?
My tag team partner and myself, the guy that started off training with me, we wrestled Rey Mysterio and Pequeño Polo, the original Rey Mysterio, and that was in Tijuana. And I'm proud to say that out of 5 matches, we were right in the center of the card. We were match number 3, and it was an incredible match. I wish I had it on film.
I was just going to ask you, what was your feeling? What were your nerves when you hit the curtain?
Well, when we showed up, we knew we were rookies, and we knew that we could probably screw up, but we were hoping not to. But once we got there, I remember Ray told us that he had done a lot of publicity on the radio, and that he had told the crowd or the fans there that we were coming in from a big tour in Japan. So that put us in a spot. We can't perform as amateurs. We can't perform as a couple of green guys. We really had to take it up to the next level. We couldn't afford to look like crap, So evidently, I told my partner we're going to have to go in there and really, really put on a show and forget about that we're green or whatever. And fortunately, we did. We had a tremendous good match. And I remember Ray was very happy after that match. And for quite a while, it was one of his most favorite matches. The reason I said masks is because he was so excited about wrestling us and having that great match that he actually asked us for our mask. If he could take one of our masks as a souvenir to hang on his wall at home. And I told him, well, if Juan, my partner, is the one that made the masks, so if he's willing to make another one, I'll give you mine. 1981, that was our first match. And once we had our first match, we just kept on having matches. It didn't stop for a long, long time.
So then, Jesse, when did you decide to actually make a school, or why did you pick the ID in San Bernardino?
Well, the thing is that me and my partner spent 9 years with Goliath, helping him train other people after he trained us. We stuck around with him, and we helped train many, many individuals, such as Bobby Bradley, Tim Patterson, Bulldog Sampson, and so many others that I can't even, begin to count. And so spending 9 years with Goliath, training his guys, I fell in love with the fact, with training. I fell in love, after we went our separate ways, I decided to keep going with it. And we opened up a wrestling school, myself along with Bob Bradley Sr. We became partners on a school and a promotion. We did that for a while, and then eventually Bill Anderson and myself hooked up, and we opened up the School of Hard Knocks shortly after. It was through a documentary that CNN News came out to do, and they're the ones that ended the show or the documentary by saying, "This is truly a School of Hard Knocks." We liked that. We liked what he said, and we kept it as a name. And that's how School of Hard Knocks was born. And then a few years later, we decided to be more serious about promoting, and so that our guys will have a platform to wrestle on in. And then that's where we created, in 1996, we created the Empire Wrestling Federation strictly as a platform for our students. It wasn't supposed to be anything big. It was just something that, that we could put our students in front of an audience.
Was it worth the beginning?
At the very beginning, when we came up with the name school, the Empire Wrestling Federation, we started doing shows at the Boys and Girls Club in San Bernardino, and we did 17 months of events there. Between that, we were going into the San Bernardino Arena as well. So and then we picked up a venue in Lancaster. So we were spreading ourselves. We were doing fundraisers at different high schools and stuff like that. We did a lot of that, but it wasn't anything like now. Now I think now we're having like a lot more shows, more venues that we're going into. But it was a start, and then once we started going, once EWF went into Covina, we built that up. We built that up to where now we have a tremendous audience there, and we have to have better storylines than we used to, to make it grow even more. And so now we use not only our guys, but outside guys as well. That's why we were using some of the Santino brothers students or from different other organizations. I don't mind at all. But I think it's good for those guys to come in and wrestle somebody different than what they're used to, and the same thing for my guys as well.
Now, the first show in Covina, can you talk about how that was, and was there any glitches? Or?
No, the first show in Covina was actually it was under the EWF banner, but it was not really my show. It was we had a friend, Augie Max, that he was our videographer. He used to tape the shows for us back then, and he wanted to take a shot at promoting, giving it a shot as a promoter. He did one show, and that was at Covina, at the Knights of Columbus Hall there, and he kind of said, "This is too much," and said, "Jess, if you want to continue running here, you're more than welcome to have this building." And we kept it. We built it up to what it is now. But on that first show, I remember we had, I believe we had Melina. We had Melina on the card. We had Crazy Casey and guys that were working around here at the time. There's a lot that the fans don't see, and the wrestlers seem to ignore, and that's the hard work of promoting. Being out there constantly. I mean, if you want a crowd, you got to go out there, and we, I pass out anywhere between 8,000 to 9, sometimes even 10,000 flyers, for one show. And can you imagine when I'm running 3 or 4 shows in the same month? That's a lot of footwork, and but I don't mind it. I guess it's keeping me healthy. I'm doing something that I want to do, but I really wish that the guys will understand what I'm doing, and I think that they should be more helpful, because I'm mainly doing it for them. I'm not getting rich on these shows. I mean, I'm giving them a platform for them to perform, so they should really appreciate that, especially those that are students of mine, and really take it upon themselves to offer their services, to be able to help out a little bit more. It'll mean, that I can keep this going for a lot longer.
The school was going to go for 20 years, the EWF itself?
Well, I had other promotions before EWF, and they didn't go that. They definitely didn't go that far. I mean, a couple of years each one. Some maybe a few months. But when we came up with EWF, it became very serious. When my partner walked away from the promotion, I kept it going, and took off with it. Made it what it is now.
At the 20th show, you guys were the first ever Hall of Fame. How did that come to be, and whose idea was it?
That was my booker's idea about doing the Hall of Fame. He felt that, there's not many promotions that have lasted 20 years. Not independent promotions anyway. They all come and go, and so that was really something that he thought very highly of, and felt that we should do something like to honor some of our guys from the past, guys and gals from the past, and have something to show for.
And how did you guys come up with the first inductees?
Well,
How did you guys come up with them?
for example, Melina, she became a big star in WWE. Frankie Kazarian also, has been a big star wherever he goes. And Bobby Bradley, for example, well, he's no longer in the business, but he was our first champion. And that's probably the reason why we decided to go with him as well.